Hello everybody, welcome to Talk Tech Culture. So on today's episode, we'll be continuing with our last episode's build, which was the text-to-image application powered by ClipDrop and ReactJS. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we upload right here at Talk Tech Culture. So our previous build, we left off at the function which allows us to generate the image and then download the image. So we're going to do all this, continue with the build, and then as you can see on your screen, this is where we left off, and then we're going to continue. Now, at the end of the build, you're going to see how we generate text to images, and then you're going to see how our images come alive based on our prompt techniques, okay? So if you'd like to know more about prompt technique, there is a link to the prompt video, that is prompt engineering video, in the description box. You can click on it and then get to know more about crafting your prompt in order to get the best response from any language model right here at Talk Tech Culture. Now let's get into the build and continue building. So now we have the this and that. We're going to write code for the download image and all that. And for this one, what's happening here is simply that this is just a check, okay? This is just a check that the image URL holds a blob, URL and all that. And a blob URL is simply a temporary local URL that's created by the browser to represent a file line or an image data, okay, in the browser's memory. So this particular here is that we're simply revoking, that's we're clearing, we're removing that particular blob that was created by which will be created here. I think what's the generate image? Okay, I think I haven't, wait, the download image. We have generate image. Okay, this is the generate image. So this generated the image, and this is simply saying that wherever the browser has created the image and stored it in its temporary memory, remove it once we click on clear. So once we click on this particular button, we're simply removing the image that has been created in memory so that we can have space. Not necessarily that we don't have space, but it's best to have clean space within your browser memory to avoid all kinds of memory leaks and stuff like that. And then after that, we set the image URL to null, the prompt. This area we set it to empty because there was a prompt there, so we're clearing everything. All right, so that's about it. So now let's write code for this download image, this function. So this is simply us checking that if this image URL is not null or is not undefined, what are we going to do? We're going to document.create. It's simply saying that we're creating a temporary anchor tag, which is created in memory. And this is traditionally used for hyperlinks, okay, guys? So we're doing this, and then this hyperref, it's simply an attribute which is creating a temporary link, and it's to set the value of the image URL, okay, to this particular temporary link, okay? So this is simply to tell the browser what to download, okay? And then basically now we have this download. The download is simply telling the browser that this is not a link where you click to navigate to. This is something that you need to download. And then we're adding all of this. This is just to help us generate unique URLs, unique image names. This date stamp here is given, it's just generating a milliseconds timestamp of, anytime we click on it, there's a timestamp that is generated. So it helps us, get, as you can see with the IntelliSense, it returns milliseconds of elapsed since midnight, January, blah, blah, blah. So it's simply a timestamp. I'm just using it to get different, names for our images that will generate. Okay, this is a very simplified version. You can do a better version to, in order to get, better names or more. So when we're done with this is simply adding a link to the DOM. So when you see anything like documents, it means we're talking to the DOM. So document.body, we're talking to the DOM of the browser. Then we're appending the link that was created, and this click is simply saying that programmatically click on the link. And then when we're done with that, we remove the link. Okay, we're freeing the memory. So when it's clicked, and then we're just freeing the memory. So, okay, so simply saying that after the click is triggered, the link should be a temporary. This is all temporary stuff. It should be removed because you've downloaded it. So whatever was temporarily created that allows you to download stuff should be removed because you've already downloaded your image. All right. So now the next thing we'll be doing here is we're going to be adding text which shows the prompt. It's something cute, okay, that we're adding to show the prompt. All right, so we're done with this. This here. Let's see if I'm missing something here. Okay. So we're gonna add this, something cute. Once I save, we're gonna lose all this. I try to avoid saving so we can have this anyway. Not to worry. Let's just click on save. It's not a problem. Okay. So now our next step is, what is it? Yes, your guess is as good as mine. We're about to do this. But first of all, as I said, we're dealing with API. We use ClipDrop. ClipDrop is giving us an API. So a safer way to store our API key is using an env file. So we're going to create an env file, which is going to house our API key. So I'm going to paste this here. I'll paste the API key later so you guys don't get to see my API key. So you can generate your own API key using ClipDrop as I showed earlier. All right, so we have this beautifully ready here, and then we go back into our code, and then we're going to finally start something. I have a use effect here, which also does, which, cleans up whenever we clear an image. I'll add it here. It's not very, I would say, very important, but I added it to, for extra check. Okay, let me add this use effect. It's complaining that it doesn't see. Okay, this is just an extra check, which the clear is already doing. The clear button is already doing here, but I'm just adding it for extra check. Nothing special, guys. All right. So now the next and the final step is that we're here to generate our image. Now, to generating our image, we first going to check. I like the double checks, the multiple checks, that in case a check failed somewhere, when you hit another function, there's also a check. Okay, so we have this check which is checking that the prompt here, if we remove all the white spaces, the prompt here, if it's true that there exists a prompt, we should proceed to generate the image or proceed to send the text or the prompt to the API. If it doesn't exist, we should simply throw this error at the top and say, please enter prompt, return. Okay, so for some reason, magical reason, if it happens that this is disabled for some magical reason. So this is just extra checks. Now that we're done with this, we're going to add our loader. We're going to set our loader to true, set our error to null, and our image URL to null as we are about to generate an image. And then to enter, this has to be an asynchronous function. Sorry, guys, because we're calling an API. And I'm going to be using the try catch block. And I'm going to add finally. What does this finally block do? That no matter whatever happens here, this block will always execute. So here in this block, I'm going to add set loading to false so that if we successfully generate our image, we can put set loading to false here. But then we also have to put set loading to false here if we catch an error. We don't want the page to keep loading and loading and loading. So to avoid redundancy and have a clean build, we just add finally here, which simply means that whatever happens here, this particular block will always execute. So we're setting loading to false. Okay. All right. So the next is that we're console logging here within our try. And just to, timestamp, just to see that we're here, we're console logging, say we're sending a request. Before I proceed, let me add the code within the catch error. Yeah, it's complaining here. I'm just going to give it a type of any. TypeScript can be very sensitive, guys. Oh, I guess I did it outside. TypeScript can be very, very sensitive. All right. So I'm just adding any. I don't have the energy to be defining how my error message is, the type of my error message. So I'm just adding any. But in a production ready application, you should know how the structure of the error is going to be like. So you have to define a proper type for the error. Okay. So I'm just going to enter this and copy paste. I'm simply going to explain it, not to worry, guys. So as I paste it here, let me save this. What is this doing here, guys? So this is ClipDrop's URL that we'll be using here, the post method here. This is what's the API that we're calling. And here the headers, when you go to the ClipDrop website here, look at some of the examples of the API calls. These are the parameters that it expects when you're calling its API to convert text to image. So headers here, this is a content type, is application JSON. Then this is a ClipDrop key that is expecting it in terms of its API calls. And here process.env, this, okay, let me hover on this so that we can explain. This is simply process.env, as the IntelliSense is telling us, is a property that returns an object containing the user's environment. Okay, so this is how we're using to access this env file, this particular thing that we just defined here. This is how we access it here. React App Image API key. I can name it whatever I want, and then I'll change the name here. It doesn't do anything because this is simply looking for this. That's all. Okay, and then it picks the API key that is written here, assigned here, and then it appends it to this. And then with the body where we're passing our prompt that we defined here, and then with this particular request, we send it to the API. And then here we have a console log here simply saying that response received. So I just added these console logs as just timestamps to know where the code is. It's not really necessary in production, guys, but I'm just doing it here to see the steps, just to enable you to see where it's going. So now here I'm saying that if my response.OK, because my response, this is an object. As you can see, is a type. It has a type response and is an object which contains key value status, OK, and many others. This OK is simply a read-only property. As you can see, it's just to tell us that the response status is 200. HTTP response code 200 means that it was a successful API call. So if this is not true, we're throwing an error, a server error, and then this is giving us the status of the response. So this status will indicate the error code and everything all there, and we're throwing the error here. Now, we're going to, if this doesn't happen, then we're on this lane, which is getting the blob. That is what is generated from the response that we're getting, because the response we're getting from ClipDrop API is we're getting a blob, and we're going to craft it as we want. So the blob method, what does it do? It simply converts the raw binary data that we're getting from ClipDrop into an object which the browser can handle. So we can see here we're using await, that sometimes it takes time, guys, for this whole thing to generate. So we're awaiting the response.blob, and then we're passing it here. So now here we're going to use this URL.create. When you hover on it, it simply is a static method. It's simply creating that URL interface. It's like it creates a URL string for us, which we can use to pass into our image tag and then view our image. And what are we doing here? We pass it to the variable URL and then we set our image variable. Very clean, very simple, and then we're good to go. So in the event whereby something happens here, what do? We simply we catch the error here and then we set our loader to false because we don't want our loader to keep iterating and taking 1,000 years to complete. So now our application is fully functional and it's ready for testing, guys. Yes, we did it. We're finally at the end. This, I forgot to explain. Yeah, this is simply setting the URL and this simply triggers a re-render. In React, the essence of this use state hook is to help us generate re-renders, which really helps, which is very important, helps to keep state so that whenever the value changes, it's updated on the browser. It happens very fast behind the scenes. And there's something we call the virtual DOM in React, which enables all these to take place seamlessly. And let me know in the comment section if you want to know about React and stuff like that. But today we're focused more on the AI stuff of things, how we're generating text to image. So now that we're ready, I'm just gonna paste a very simplified prompt so that we can test our application. Run our application. Are you ready? All right. Excellent. Yeah, this is gonna open again. Let me just close this one. Okay, so first I'm gonna paste this. Are you ready? You see how it changed color? Now it's generating our image. Beautiful. Let me make this bigger, guys, so we can see what's happening here. So beautiful. You see how our images were generated? So clean, so nice. I can clear this and we can see the prompt here. Okay, our tips are no longer there because if we were to generate our image, we don't need a tip. Okay, so we can click on download and this is downloaded. When I open this, voila, beautiful image. Okay, I can close this and then I can click on clear to clear everything. You see it deletes everybody. Okay, so now that was the first image. So the next image I want us to generate is a photo. Okay, this is a photo of a young African girl reading at the library. So I'm going to click on this, generate. As you can see what we saw there, generating image, blah, blah, blah. This is beautiful. She's reading in the library. We can generate, we can clear. So let me break this prompt down. This is saying a photo of a young girl reading. This is very simple. So with this, what I was specifying was the African girl. I said young. So now if I give a prompt of, let's say, a photo of children playing, a photo of children playing at the beach with their parents sitting in the sun watching them. I'm giving details, okay? So now let's see how it's able to generate this for us. Okay, so I'm saying that these are children playing at the beach. So this is clearly the beach. And here it's saying what? Parents are sitting in the sun watching them. I didn't specify where parents were sitting on a chair or whatever. So now, guys, you understand that the prompt is very important. The prompt also helps. And you can see their legs, even the leg is tilted in a way which looks like the body, yeah, the design, the image is not very It's not imaging. Guys, it's not the best. So it means that you need to, craft your prompts better and then hope that the language model gives you a better image. So let's let's give it a bit of a detailed one. And let's give it a bit of a detailed one. Okay, I'm saying this is a photo of a science fair showing space and machine learning technologies with students between the ages of 15 and 21. So I'm given specifications that is a science fair. It's talking about AI, machine learning tech, and then the students that should be shown in the image should range between 15 and 21. So let's see what it gives us. So you're seeing the same typically giving us the extra information. And voila, it's giving us a science fair. It's showing typical, clearly giving us young adults. Okay, it's showing this giving us something about machine learning, science for machine system, blah blah blah. The image is it's not the best, but at least we can tweak our prompt to make it, good. And then it gave us this. So we can download, we can clear. Now our prompt is here, so I can download this, open this. Let me open the image and see. And then we have our image generated here. So that is it for all. You can use this simple application within your existing application. You can use it to generate stuff. You can even have a carousel in your portfolio. Let me know if you would like something like that. And then you can have this image, this running maybe in a loop. Have this image generation running in a loop, like generate maybe 6 images in a carousel in a beautiful way. This application can be used in multiple ways, okay? And it's like a sub application, okay? You can create maybe how do you call it? You can have this within a bigger application because this is just a feature, okay, that can be used in multiple applications. So you can clear it and then you're back to the beginning. Okay, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this build. Is there a better way we can design this and make it cleaner? We can make it faster. Are there APIs that can make our image, APIs for text to image generation, APIs that can make our image sharper, more accurate with less prompt techniques? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys once again for joining us on this beautiful build. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we upload. Know this, AI is evolving. Now we have agentic AI. Things are changing. So our advice is that we learn to adapt to these changes so that we're not found wanting when technology seems to be moving fast and we're lagging behind. So these builds are to encourage us to, do the little things by ourselves so that we will not feel like we're lagging behind while technology is, moving very fast. And trust me, we're in 2026. Welcome to 2026, guys. And there's going to be lots and lots of build right here on this channel. So stick around and don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that whenever we upload, you will know, you'll be the first to know, okay? See you in the next build. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your year. Bye.